Hi students, welcome to ARKA NEET Academy, Guntur. I hope that all of you have done very well in NEET exam 2020. The paper is very easy, particularly biology and chemistry. These two papers are very easy, and these two papers are totally based on the NCERT book. And some of the physics questions are tough and tricky. So those students who regularly attend the physics class, they may not have any problem. And overall, the paper is very easy, and most of the students have done very well, extremely well. So we are very proud to say that immediately after completion of the examination, within half an hour, ARKA NEET Academy has provided key for our students. And within 2 or 3 hours of the completion of the examination, we have provided the online paper explanation to the student community. And let me give a brief introduction about my institution. B. Sriramulu, he is the chairman of this NEET Academy. He has started this institution this year in Guntur. He worked in many institutions as an extraordinary administrator. His role is very significant in the success of the many students. Now, his main aim is justice to all levels of students. Even an average student is to be strengthened to get the medical rank. So, with this brief introduction, I want to move to the zoology paper explanation. Today, the students have done very well in biology. So let me explain paper zoology. Now, look at the first one. This is bilateral symmetrical and acoelomate animals are exemplified. Means the bilateral symmetry and acoelomate animals are included in which phylum? Look at the first option. This is the Ctenophora. In the Ctenophora, the symmetry is not bilateral symmetry. It is the radial or biradial symmetry. Whereas in Platyhelminthes, the symmetry is like this. Look at the screen here. Now, this is the planaria, belongs to the Platyhelminthes. It exhibits the bilateral symmetry. Its body is cut into 2 equal halves on the sagittal plane. This kind of symmetry is known as bilateral symmetry. Acoelomate means the coelom is absent because the coelom is filled with mesenchyma. Now, look at this one. This is the body wall, and this is the gut wall. Between the body wall and gut wall, there is a cavity or the coelom that's filled with the mesenchyma. So that the coelom is absent and they exhibit the bilateral symmetry. Hence, the Platyhelminthes is the correct answer. Now, Aschelminthes, symmetry is bilateral, but the coelom is pseudocoelom. In Annelida, symmetry is bilateral symmetry, but the coelom is true coelom, that is schizocoelom. So the answer is, second option is the correct answer. Next, come to the cuboidal epithelium with the brush border of microvilli is found in. There is the lining of intestine and the ducts of salivary glands like this. Look at this diagram. This is the cuboidal epithelium with the brush border. Microvilli form the brush border. This microvilli increase the area of the absorption. In the nephron, PCT is made of simple cuboidal epithelium with microvilli which increase the area of absorption. Therefore, proximal convoluted tubule of the nephron bears the cuboidal epithelium with microvilli. So, the option is, correct option is 3. Match the trophic level with their correct species examples in the grassland ecosystem. Look at this one. Now, look at this one here. The grouse is at the first trophic level, a rabbit is second trophic level, crow is third trophic level, and vulture is at the fourth trophic level. So this is the sequence of various animals in first to fourth trophic level according to this question. Therefore, the answer is the first one. This is the sequence of animals in first to fourth trophic level. In this question, the first option is the answer. In which of the following techniques the embryos are transferred to assist those females who cannot conceive? So look at this one. One is GIFT, zygote intrafallopian transfer and intrauterine transfer. Look at this one. Here the zygote undergoes the cleavage. Now the embryo with 8 cells is introduced into the fallopian tube. When the embryo is more than 8 cells, that is introduced into the uterus. This is called intrauterine transfer. Now look at the second one. Here the embryo with 8 cells is transferred to the fallopian tube. This is called zygote intrafallopian tube. Normally this kind of reproductive assisted technology is preferred when the woman is not conceived. So the first option is the correct answer. Next come to the QRX complex in a standard ECG represents. This is the ECG. Now look at this one. QRX complex, QRS complex. This represents the contraction of the ventricle. Contraction of the ventricle. Contraction is also known as depolarization. Therefore, look at the first option, a repolarization of auricles. This is not represented in the in this ECG graph. A repolarization, relaxation of auricles is not represented in the ECG. Next, depolarization of auricles means contraction of auricles is represented by P wave. Next one is depolarization of ventricles. The contraction of ventricle is represented as QRS complex. Therefore, the third option is the correct one. A repolarization of ventricle means a relaxation of ventricle that is represented by T wave. So the correct answer option is third. Which of the following region of the globe exhibit the highest species diversity? Now students, look at this one. This is the Amazon rainforest. Amazon rainforest is considered as the lungs of the planet. This rainforest produces 20% of oxygen to the globe. So maximum species diversity is found in the Amazon forest. Look at this one. Western Ghats of India, Madagascar, Himalayas, Amazon forest. It exhibits the highest species diversity. So the correct option is fourth. Flippers of penguins and the dolphins explains. Now look at this one. Here this is the penguin which has the flippers. These flippers are useful for swimming. In the same way, this is the whale which has the flippers useful for swimming. Now the flippers of penguins and the whales are performing same function. Such organs are known as analogous organs. Analogous organs explain the convergent evolution. The animals of different groups live in a common habitat because of the common function. This is known as convergent evolution. So look at the options. Adaptive radiation. Adaptive radiation, it explains the divergent evolution. Convergent evolution. So the functional similarity is related to the convergent evolution. Industrial melanism is not related to this one, and the natural selection is not related to this one. Therefore, the correct answer is convergent evolution. Next, if the head of the cockroach is removed, it may live for a short time. Students, look at this picture. Here there is a cockroach. The cockroach is without the head. Even if you cut the head of the cockroach, it can survive for some days. The reason is the major part of the nervous system is located on the ventral side of the abdomen and thorax. The head contains a small part of the nervous system. When head is cut off from the body, the mouth parts cannot work, so this animal cannot feed. Due to lack of the food, this will die after some days. Therefore, the answer is this. This is the supraesophageal ganglia of the cockroach are situated in the ventral part of the abdomen. This is not correct. Supraesophageal ganglia means brain. Brain is located in the head. Therefore, here the ventral part of the abdomen is the wrong sentence. The cockroach does not have the nervous system. This is also not correct one. The cockroach have nervous system. It has a nerve ring and a double ventral nerve cord. So the second option is not correct one. The head holds the small proportion of the nervous system while the major portion is situated along the ventral part of its body. This is the correct option. A small part of the nervous system is in the head and the major part of the nervous system lies on the ventral side of the thorax and the abdomen. That is why when the head is cut off, the animal able to survive for some time. It died because of the lack of the food and the energy. Next, this is the third option, is the correct one. The head holds 1/3 of the nervous system while the rest is situated along the dorsal part. Dorsal part is the wrong one. The nervous system lies on the dorsal side in case of vertebrates or the chordates. So the third option is correct. Next, select the correct events that occur during the inspiration. Now students, look at this video here. This is the diaphragm and this is the rib cage and the sternum. During the inspiration, what is happening here? The diaphragm contracts so that the diaphragm moves down and becomes flat. When diaphragm moves down, the pulmonary volume increases, hence the intrapulmonary pressure decreases. As the pulmonary volume increases, the pressure decreases. In the same way, when external intercostal muscles contract, the sternum and then ribs. The sternum and ribs move forward so that the pulmonary volume increase and then the intrapulmonary pressure decrease. So what is happening during the inspiration? The diaphragm and the external intercostal muscles contact at the same time, so that the pulmonary volume increase and intrapulmonary pressure decrease, hence the air rushes into the lungs. This is the concept. Then look at the options. Contraction of diaphragm, this is correct. And then contraction of external intercostal muscles, correct. Pulmonary volume decreases, that's wrong. Pulmonary volume increase. Next, intrapulmonary pressure increase, that's wrong. When volume increase, the intrapulmonary pressure decreases. So out of the four, A and B, these two are the correct answers. Then the first option is correct one. Next, come to the next one. Which of the following statement is not correct? Students, look at this diagram. This is related to the proinsulin. In the proinsulin, there are three peptide chains. This is A chain, this is B peptide chain, and this is C peptide chain. This is the C peptide chain like this. Now, in the proinsulin, this is immature one. This is called proinsulin. It is an immature one. In human beings, initially proinsulin is produced and then the C peptide is cut off. It becomes the mature functional insulin. The insulin contains A chain and B chain which are connected together by disulfide bonds, There are 3 disulfide bonds in the insulin. Now, this is the concept. Now, look at the options. In man, insulin is synthesized as proinsulin. It's correct. Initially, it is in the form of inactive and immature form. This is called as proinsulin. This is correct statement. The proinsulin has an extra peptide called C peptide. Look at this diagram. This one is the C peptide. Because of the C peptide, the proinsulin is non-functional. The functional insulin has A and B chains linked together by hydrogen bonds. This is wrong. Not hydrogen bonds, by disulfide bonds. Therefore, wrong statement, or which is not correct, the third one is not correct. Hydrogen bonds is not the correct word. It should be disulfide bonds is the correct one. Genetically engineered insulin is produced unequally. This is correct one. Therefore, the correct answer for this question is third option. Next one is this. Now, look at this one. Look at this. Identify the correct statement with reference to the human digestive system. Now, this is the stomach and this is the small intestine, then duodenum, then jejunum, ileum. Ileum is the longest and highly coiled part. Then ileum opens into the cecum, and then this is the colon. Colon opens into the rectum. Rectum opens into the anus. This is the alimentary canal of the human being. Now look at this point. Ileum opens into small intestine. That's not the correct. Ileum is a part of the small intestine. Ileum opens into the large intestine. So small intestine is not the correct word. Serosa is the innermost layer of the alimentary canal. This is wrong. Serosa is the outermost layer. Outermost layer, serosa, muscularis, submucosa and mucosa. Therefore, innermost is the wrong word in this sentence. Next, ileum is highly coiled part. This is correct. Look at this video here. Highly coiled part. This is the ileum. Ileum opens into the cecum. The third one is the correct statement. Vermiform appendix arises from the duodenum. This is a wrong statement. What is wrong in this sentence? Duodenum is a wrong one. So appendix arises from the cecum of the large intestine. So the third statement is the correct statement. So the correct option is 3. Snow blindness in Antarctica region is due to. Look at this one. This is the eye which shows the snow blindness. UV B rays, ultraviolet B rays are highly dangerous. When they strike the human skin, it causes the death of the cells in the skin and skin cancer. This causes the aging of the skin. When UV rays are absorbed by the cornea at high doses, then snow blindness occurs. Therefore, the answer is overdose absorption of the UV B rays causes the snow blindness. This is the disease related to the cornea. Freezing of fluids in the eye by low temperature. This is not the correct. Inflammation of cornea due to high dose of UVB radiation. This is correct one. When cornea absorbs the high doses of the UVB radiation, then the inflammation of cornea happens. We call it as snow blindness. Then high reflection of the light from the snow, not correct. The damage to the retina. Damage to the retina by infrared radiation, this is also not the correct statement. So the correct option is, this is 2. Second one is the correct option. Now, meiotic division of the secondary oocyte is completed. Students, look at this diagram. The sperm is entering into the ovum. The sperm is entering into the ovum. Now, at the time of the ovulation, the ovum is the secondary oocyte. It is in the meiosis 2 at metaphase 2. At the moment when sperm fuses with the ovum and the sperm enters into the ovum, meiosis 2 is completed. So that secondary oocyte formed the second polar body and ooted. So this is the concept, and look at these options. Prior to ovulation, no, it's not right. At the time of the copulation, no, it's not at all correct. Next, after zygote formation, not at all correct. This is at the time of the fusion of the sperm with ovum. This is the correct answer. The fourth option is the correct answer. Now come to the another one. Which of the following hormone levels will cause the release of the ovum or ovulation from the Graafian follicle? On the midday of the menstrual cycle, the Graafian follicle ruptures and releases the ovum into the coelomic fluid. We call it as ovulation. The ovulation is influenced by hormones. So there are 4 types of hormones which play a very important role in the menstrual cycle. These hormones are like this. Look at this diagram here. So look at this one. This is the ovulation. This is the ovulation. And there are 4 hormones, like the LH is at the peak level during the ovulation. This is called LH switch. So the rupture of the Graafian follicle takes place because of the higher level of the LH, and then FSH also at the higher level, and estrogen level is also very high. So 3 hormones concentration is very high during the period of the ovulation. This is the LH, FSH and estrogen. The progesterone level is low, or it's low, or the low level. Now like this. Here the ovulation is because of the over concentration of the, or higher level of these 3 hormones. Look at this one. High concentration of estrogen, this is the correct one. And then high concentration of progesterone, this is wrong. Progesterone level is low. Here you can see the red line here. This red line represents the progesterone, which level is low. Then low concentration of LH, this is wrong. LH level is very high. Highest level of LH is called LH surge. This causes the ovulation. So low concentration of LH is wrong. Low concentration of FSH, this is also wrong. So LH, FSH and estrogens are at a high level during the ovulation. The ovulation is brought about by the high level of these 3 types of hormones. Here the first option is the correct answer. Next, which of the following would help in the prevention of the diuresis? Diuresis means overproduction of the urine is known as diuresis. Okay, when water reabsorption, when water is not properly reabsorbed in the uriniferous tubules, the water, the huge amount of the water comes out. We call it as diuresis. Diuresis can be prevented by anti-diuretic hormone. Anti-diuretic hormone. Look at the options like this. Here look at the first option is this one. More water reabsorption due to under secretion of anti-diuretic hormone. Under secretion is not the correct one. It should be over secretion. When anti-diuretic hormone is produced in large amount, then more amount of the water is reabsorbed from a renal fluid into the blood, so that diuresis can be prevented. But what is given here? Here under secretion is given. So under secretion is not related, it is not correct. What should be there? Here over secretion of ADH prevents the diuresis. Here the first option is wrong. A reabsorption of sodium and water. So how the aldosterone is related to diuresis? Most of the students have made mistakes about the second option. Their opinion is that anti-diuretic hormone is related to the diuresis. In what way aldosterone is related? Aldosterone is responsible for the absorption of sodium chloride. When salt is reabsorbed, automatically water is also reabsorbed along with salts. So indirectly aldosterone is responsible for the absorption of water. Hence aldosterone is also responsible in preventing the diuresis. Okay, so there are two hormones which prevent the diuresis. One is ADH, which directly increase the absorption of the water and prevents the diuresis. The second one is aldosterone, which indirectly involves the absorption of water and prevents the diuresis. Therefore, second option is the correct answer. Atrial natriuretic factor causes vasoconstriction. This is wrong. This is vasodilator. ANF is a vasodilator. It dilates the blood vessel so that the blood pressure is reduced. The third statement is wrong. Decrease in the secretion of renin by Golgi cells. This is wrong. Here a decrease is wrong. Decrease. It should be increase. Therefore, the second option is the correct answer. The key is 2. Montreal Protocol was signed in the 1897 for the control of, look at this one, this is the ozone hole which is formed at the Antarctica. Now, a conference was held in Montreal in the year 1987 to discuss about the control of the ozone depleting substances. Okay, now look at this point. This is the transport of genetically modified organism from one country to another country. That's not related to this one. Emission of ozone depleting substances. There are some substances which can deplete the ozone in the stratosphere and cause the penetration of the UV rays onto the Earth's surface. Therefore, the Montreal Protocol is related to the emission of the ozone depletion substances. So, second answer is the correct option. Secondary metabolites such as the nicotine, strychnine and caffeine are produced by plants further. So, look at this diagram here. This is Papaver somniferum. And then from the pod, the morphine is extracted. This is tobacco, nicotine is extracted from this one. And this is coffee, caffeine is extracted from this one. The plants produce this chemical not for nutrition purpose. They produce this chemical for the defense purpose. They are sedatives. They cause the drowsiness of the animals which consume these plants. Therefore, these plants produce these chemicals like the nicotine and then caffeine for defense purpose. So, the answer is defense action. And then identify the wrong statement with the reference to the transport of oxygen. With the transport of the oxygen. Now, students, look at this one. Here, this is alveolus and here is tissue. This is tissue and this one is alveolus like this. At the level of tissue, the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is high, so that the temperature is also high. This carbon dioxide combine with water and form carbonic acid, hence the pH is low. The carbonic acid dissociates as bicarbonate and hydrogen ions, therefore hydrogen ions concentration is very high and oxygen partial pressure is low at the tissue level. The same factors are reversed at the alveolus. Here, partial pressure of carbon dioxide is low, the temperature is low, and the pH is high. When carbonic acid is not there, the pH is high. The carbonic acid is not dissociated as bicarbonates and hydrogen ions, therefore, hydrogen ions concentration is low. And partial pressure of oxygen is high, like this. Now come to this one. These are very easy factors. Every student know very well about these factors. Now look at this one. Binding of oxygen. Here, look at this one. Here in the lungs, the oxygen combines with hemoglobin and form oxyhemoglobin. The binding of oxygen with hemoglobin is mainly related to the partial pressure of oxygen. That's correct. At the lungs, the partial pressure of oxygen is very high. Therefore, oxygen combines with hemoglobin and form the oxyhemoglobin. So, partial pressure of oxygen is very important factor in the binding of oxygen with the hemoglobin. This is the correct statement. Next, come to the partial pressure of carbon dioxide can interfere with the oxygen binding with the hemoglobin. So, at the lungs, the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is very low, so that the oxygen combines with hemoglobin and form the oxyhemoglobin. So, carbon dioxide partial pressure is also very important in binding the oxygen with the hemoglobin. Hence, the second statement is also correct. Higher hydrogen ions in alveoli favors the formation of oxyhemoglobin. Now, look at the point here. This point is this. Here, hydrogen ions concentration is low. At the lungs, hydrogen ion concentration is low, so that the oxygen combines with hemoglobin. So, here higher is wrong one. Here higher is not the correct one. Low partial pressure of carbon dioxide in alveoli favors the formation of oxyhemoglobin. Here oxygen partial pressure is low. Here oxygen partial pressure is low. Partial pressure of carbon dioxide is low. That favors the formation of oxyhemoglobin. Therefore, this point is related to this. Here, the lower hydrogen concentration in alveoli favors the formation of oxyhemoglobin. This is it. Therefore, what is the correct word here? What is the wrong word? Higher is incorrect word. What should be there? Lower. Therefore, the third option is a wrong statement. This is the wrong statement. Next, come to this. Select the correct statement. Glucocorticoids stimulate the gluconeogenesis. Neo means, here the point is this one. Neo means new. The production of glucose from non-carbohydrate source is called gluconeogenesis. Okay. Now look at this one. Here the proteins, then the pyruvates, proteins, they transform into the glucose. The transformation of non-carbohydrate source as glucose is called, this is called gluconeogenesis. Genesis means production. What is produced? Glucose is produced. As glucose is produced, this is called glucogenesis. But here, glucose is produced from the non-carbohydrate source like the pyruvic acid or the proteins. This reaction is influenced by the glucocorticoids. This is the cortisol. The cortisol is a glucocorticoid. Therefore, this statement is correct statement. This one is correct statement. Now come to the second one. This is glucagon is associated with hyperglycemia. Hyperglycemia. This is wrong. Glucagon is associated with the hypoglycemia. This is wrong one. What should be the correct one? Hyperglycemia. Glucagon increases the glucose level in the blood. This is called hyperglycemia. Therefore, glucagon associated with hypoglycemia, this is the wrong one. The wrong one is hypoglycemia. Insulin acts on the pancreatic cells. This is wrong. Insulin acts on the pancreatic cell. This is wrong. It acts on the muscle cells, liver cells, and adipocytes. Pancreatic cells is the wrong one. The next one, insulin is associated with hyperglycemia. This is the wrong one. Hypoglycemia. The under level of the glucose in the blood is called hypoglycemia. So insulin is associated, hyper is a wrong word. What should be the correct one? Hypo is correct one. Here hyperglycemia is wrong. Here hypoglycemia is wrong. Pancreatic cell is wrong in this sentence. Therefore, the first option is the correct answer. Next, which of the following refers to the correct example of organisms which have evolved due to the changes in the environment brought about by the anthropogenic action? Anthropogenic means human action. By human activity, some species evolution takes place. The origin of a species takes place by human activities, like the artificial selection by man creates hybrids in plants and then animals. In the same way, the bacteria resistant to the drugs or the microbes resistant to the drugs, this is because of the human activity. Now look at this point here. Darwin finches of Galapagos Islands. Darwin finches in Galapagos Islands is due to adaptive radiation. This is not the anthropogenic one. This is not because of the human activity. This is the natural activity. So the first option is not related to this one. Herbicide resistant weeds. There are some weeds which can resist the chemicals. They are called weeds resistant to the herbicides. These weeds, the origin of these weeds is because of the human activity. Next, drugs resistant to the eukaryotes. This is also due to human activity. Man created the breeds of the domesticated animals like the dogs. This is also due to the human activity. Therefore, B, C, D are the example for anthropogenic action. Now look at the options. Here B, C, D, these three are related to the anthropogenic. So therefore key is 3. Which of the following statement is true? The phylum Chordata. Next one. Urochordata, notochord extends. In Urochordata, notochord extends from head to tail and present throughout the life. This is wrong. Here Urochordata is not correct. Cephalochordata. There should be cephalochordata. Then the statement would be right. Here Urochordata is the wrong option. Next, come to the second one. In vertebrata, notochord is present during the embryonic period. During the embryonic period only. So chordates have notochord. All chordates have notochord. In case of vertebrates, the notochord present in the embryonic stage is replaced by vertebral column. The name vertebrata is because of the vertebral column which replaces the notochord of the embryonic stage. Therefore, second option is also correct. Central nervous system is a dorsal and hollow. In case of chordates, the central nervous system is on the dorsal side and hollow. This is quite reverse in case of invertebrates, where the nervous system is double solid present on the ventral side in case of invertebrates. But in case of chordates, this is the dorsal and hollow. This is the correct statement. Chordata is divided into 3 subphyla. Hemichordata is wrong. Here hemichordata is not placed under the chordata. Tunicata or Urochordata, Cephalochordata, Vertebrata, these 3 are the subphyla. Therefore, here the wrong word is hemichordata. Hence, B and C are the correct statements. B and C are correct statements. The fourth one is correct one. The key is the fourth one. Identify the wrong statement with reference to the immunity. Next comment. When exposed to the antigen, whether it is living or dead, antibodies are produced in the host body. It is called active immunity. Nowadays, students, the immunity is 2 types. One is active immunity and another one is passive immunity. When the microbes, dead microbes, in the and live microbes enter into the body, then antibodies production takes place. This is called active immunity. When antibodies are taken from other human being or from other animal and introduced into the body, this is called passive. So here the first statement is correct. When our body is exposed to the antigens, whether the dead or live antigens, antibodies are produced in our body. This is called active immunity. This is correct. When ready-made antibodies are directly given, this is called passive immunity. The antibodies present in the mother or the antibodies present in some other animals are transferred into the receiver. We call it as passive immunity. Next, active immunity is a quick and gives a full response. This is wrong. Active immunity is slow process. It shows its effect slowly after a long time. Whereas the passive immunity effect is quick, immediate, and it shows its complete effect in short time. Therefore, active immunity is quick and gives a full response. That is wrong. The third statement is wrong. Fetus receives some antibodies from mother. It is an example for passive immunity. That's true. So during the gestation period, fetus receive some of the antibodies from the mother. This transformation of antibodies from mother to the fetus, this is an example for passive immunity. IgA antibody, some antibodies are transferred from here. Next, come to the next one. This is the match the following columns like this. Now look at this one here. This is the key. Placenta. Placenta, human choriogonadotropic hormone. Zona pellucida, this is a layer around the ovum. Bulbourethral glands secretion helps in the lubrication of the penis. Leydig cells secretes the androgens. The important androgen is the testosterone. This is the correct match. This one is the correct matching. So the correct option is 4. 4 is the correct option. Next, look at the another one. Another matching is this one. Organ of Corti. Organ of Corti is located on the basilar membrane. Cochlea is a coiled part of the labyrinth. Eustachian tube is present in between the ear and the pharynx. Then this is the stapes. Stapes attaches to the oval window. And this is the correct matching. This one is the correct matching. Look at this one. Key is the third option is its key. Now look at this one. Here again the matching. This time again matching. The typhoid is caused by Salmonella typhi. Pneumonia is caused by Haemophilus. Filaria is caused by Wuchereria. Malaria is caused by Plasmodium. This is the correct matching. The matching type question is always given in favor of the students. Moreover, this time the options in the matching are completely unrelated. For example, look at this one. Here, the third option. Here, if you know one option, then it's enough. For example, typhoid, Salmonella. So, A, Salmonella, typhoid. There is no third option. There is no third option in the remaining options. This is one advantage. This is a good opportunity for the student to score maximum marks. Now, the key is 2. 2 is the perfect answer. Next. From his experiment, S.L. Miller produced amino acids by mixing the following in a closed flask. Look at this one. Here, this is Urey and Miller created the artificial primitive atmosphere in the lab. So in the spark flask, the methane, this is the methane, ammonia, water and hydrogen are taken. Therefore here the option is the methane, hydrogen ammonia and water vapor at 800 degrees centigrade is taken. Therefore, the first option is the correct answer. Okay. Next, come to match the following columns and select the correct option. Now look at this one. Eosinophils. This is the eosinophils. They release the histaminase, a destructive enzyme. Histaminase is the enzyme which destroys histamine during allergies. So at the time of allergy, the number of the eosinophils increase. We call it as eosinophilia. Now during allergies, eosinophils produce histaminase which can destroy the histamine. Histamine causes the allergy and inflammatory actions. Therefore, the eosinophils release the histaminase. Basophils release the histamine. Neutrophils are phagocytic cells. Lymphocytes are for immune response. So look at this, how easy this kind of matching is. This time the students are very lucky. The options are unrelated. So if the student knows one option, then he can easily select the correct option. Okay. Normally in matching, the student must know at least two options to come to the right option. But this time, if the student knows one option, then he can select the correct answer. Now look at this one. So the key is, the first one is the correct option. According to the Robert May, the global species diversity is about 7 millions. This is totally a memory based question. Okay. Now come to the next one. Match the following columns and select the correct option. Now again the matching. The Gregarious pest Locustus. Next, adult with radial symmetry. This is asterisk. In echinoderms, the larval forms have bilateral symmetry. When they grow adult, they lose the symmetry is transformed as radial symmetry. So adults have radial symmetry and larvae have bilateral symmetry. Booklungs are present in the scorpion. Bioluminescence is exhibited by Ctenoplana, which belongs to the phylum Ctenophora. So this is the correct matching. Now come to the second one is the correct option. Match the following columns and select the correct option. Now again, here look at this one. Look at this one. This is like this. Floating ribs, they do not touch with the sternum. 11th and 12th pairs of ribs, they do not touch with the sternum. At the same time, they do not touch with the cartilage. Next, Acromion process.